Good day, everyone. Meteorologist Mark Mueller here. Thanks for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather Tropical Edition. Great to have you here with me. Yeah, this is mid-November, and we're talking about potential Tropical Cyclone 22, likely to become Tropical Storm Vince here. Here's the Western Caribbean. Up here is Florida. If we put this into motion, you can see it's going to affect Jamaica, Eastern Cuba, and then all the way up through Haiti as well over the next couple days here before accelerating into the western and eventually the northern Atlantic. Our area off the southeast coast has kind of dissipated here, and then we're going to be watching a storm system here for next week that could actually bring some wintry conditions here for parts of the eastern Great Lakes and interior Northeast. Let's get into it. Taking a look at our satellite view infrared of our potential Tropical Cyclone 22. There's that convection really starting to fire here around the center. You can see northeastward here towards Jamaica and even parts of eastern Cuba. You are starting to get some really heavy rain out of this. And if we take a look at the 3D side view here, you can get an idea that this system is becoming a bit more symmetrical. I know still have some dry air coming in on the northwest side, but we got a lot of feeder bands feeding up on the eastern side here. And we're starting off here with the European model. I just want to let all my winter fans know my winter 2023-24 outlook is in a link in the description down below. Also, at the end of this video, you can click on the link on the screen as well. Let's get into the European model run here first. We are looking at a strengthening system here, potential Tropical Cyclone 22 here. This system's going to continue moving towards Jamaica here. Let me just level out here so you can get a good vantage point. You can see as we head through the rest of the night on Friday night or Thursday night into Friday. Here's our other system. This looks like it's going to be a cold core system. This is going to be a classic nor'easter that heads up the coast. This energy eventually going to feed into it, but in the meantime, Jamaica is going to take a big hit here. Not like tremendous, but lots of rain, more rain than you've seen in a long time here. In excess of 150, 200 millimeters, even up to eastern Cuba, Guantanamo Bay here, going to be looking at some very heavy rain, wind, likely to become a tropical storm, I think, on Friday at the very least here. So you can see as we head throughout 7 p.m., here's the center of circulation coming close to the shoreline of the eastern tip of Cuba. Likely a tropical storm by this point. It's not expected to strengthen to a hurricane, but the water temperatures are very, very warm. You can see, look at this, by 4 a.m. Saturday morning, the 18th, all the convection is already off to the northeast here. Haiti is getting hit, Dominican Republic, even some outer feeder bands as far east as Puerto Rico here. So Jamaica, if we just back this up, your big time is going to be Thursday night into Friday. So 4 p.m. into the afternoon as well. You're still getting hit with these eastern feeder bands. Those continue feeding up across eastern Cuba. As we head throughout the night, Friday night into Saturday morning, things should start to clear out. Many of you have said you have cruise times in the Bahamas all the way down to Cancun. You're looking good because behind this, a lot drier air filters in. It's going to shut off this big tropical plume to the east. Now, the tropical plume is going to continue on the east side of what could be Vince by this point. This system's going to be heading, maybe skimming across the eastern part of the Bahamas here as we head throughout the rest of Saturday morning. Look how this system's booking it, though. You're going to watch this system continue to accelerate towards Bermuda, becoming extra tropical by this point. Sunday afternoon. So this is going to be coming trained up into this area of low pressure. And as you can see, let me just back this up. Look how quickly this low pressure that's forming east of Florida here and the Bahamas continues to plow northward here. Unfortunately, I have some viewers here from North Carolina that are not going to get any rain. I know you need the rain desperately here. It's just not going to happen. There is going to be a frontal boundary moving in that's going to help energize this system, but it's going to push most of the moisture offshore. Eastern New England, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia. Watch out for this, though. Watch what happens here. As our energy combines here with what's left of Vince, most likely by this point, look at this 982 millibar low. So let's just back this up just a tad here. I can show you what's going on. So here it is Saturday morning at 10 a.m. You got a stiff northeast winds here in Cape Cod and Nantucket. There's our big low starting to bomb here, 992. Watch how quickly this bombogenesis, as they call it. There it is by 7 p.m. Saturday. This system is booking it. Just the sheer forward speed will get these winds howling, And look at that. It's coming ashore near just Halifax. That's going to be a big time, kind of like a nor'easter. Might have some wet snow. Gonna have to watch this on the backside here from northern New Brunswick to eastern Maine. We might have some wet snow on the backside of this. There's the energy from what could be Vince by this point. Look how quickly this moves out, though. You still have this tropical plume here left across the central Caribbean, but by this point, things are clearing out really nice. So here we are with the GFS. Let's see what it's doing with our big old tropical system here. It looks like a big mess here. Look how fast the GFS is moving it, though. You can see here by 10 p.m., 11 p.m., midnight on Thursday night, really booking it here towards Guantanamo Bay here, eastern Cuba. And look at this, by 7 p.m., the GFS is actually outpacing the European and the guidance here. This is by 7 p.m. on Friday evening. So it's right, you can see the center circulation right around Guantanamo Bay here. So look how the moisture, it's literally entrained into this whole system. It's all becoming one big system here. You can see it very clearly here onto the GFS model. At this point, too, it's really worrisome because not only are we going to see that 150, 200 millimeters of rainfall, which is essentially 5 to 8 inches of rain here from Jamaica all the way up to eastern Cuba, but over here into parts of Haiti as well. A little concerned about the mountainous terrain. If we get upwards of 150, 200 millimeters of rain, that's going to be very detrimental. But look how quickly this moves. The bad news is that tropical moisture plume continues out of the southwest here behind it. So we're going to continue to get rain even as far east here as Puerto Rico. Here's our low pressure winding up across parts of the northeast U.S. into southeast Canada. Big low pressure system. There it is, snow on the backside. I'll show you that synoptically a little bit later on in the video. We'll do some snow analysis. But look at that. Just winding up the energy from whatever could be potentially Vince by this point, also entrained in this. And you can see we set ourselves up for, this is like a sinking pattern behind it. Look at this. Some drier air rushing in behind it, relatively dry air, I should say, to help cut off some of this moisture plume. That kind of pushes it to the central Caribbean. And then that starts to fizzle out. We get these cold core systems continuing to spiral across eastern North America. Out in the western Pacific, it just, there's not too much happening. That's some great news out here because, the typhoon season never really truly ends. There may be a system out here well east of the Philippines, south of Japan, by the 20th, but it just looks like it fizzles out. It's a cold core system. This is interesting. By the 24th, we might actually get some sort of development over here just east of Vietnam, west of the Philippines here. You can see that how that plows to the westward here towards the 27th into the 28th. Intensity forecast for this potential tropical cyclone eventually becoming Vince. You can see it remains pretty much through this central portion, likely becoming a moderate tropical storm here with plenty of rainfall. Thanks to Tropical Tidbits here for this mid-layer dry air analysis. You can see our big moisture plume here heading across parts of Jamaica, eastern Cuba, and Haiti, the Dominican Republic. Eastern Bahamas, you're under the gun here. Look at it. It's going to be focused not only by whatever's becoming potentially Vince by this point, our potential Tropical Cyclone 22, but look at our low here off the southeast coast. It's definitely more of a cold core, low pressure system here, but it's got lots of moisture streaming out ahead of it. And as we continue to go out in time here, let's take a look. You can see it just gets absorbed here eventually Saturday and Sunday into the westerlies. And behind it, I wanted to show you this dry air is going to be filtering in. It's going to set you up for a nice late part of the weekend into early next week across Jamaica, Cuba, maybe even Haiti here. A lot of Central America as well. All right, so here we go with our rainfall amounts here. I'm going to just take you through the weekend here. Eastern Jamaica up to eastern tip of Cuba. So these areas could see upwards of 150, close to 200 millimeters of rain. That is 5 to 8 inches of rain. That is a lot of rain. Now, the good news over here, you see there's a rain shadow here in Hispaniola from Haiti, especially the inland mountains here of Haiti and Dominican Republic. That is good news because that's going to help, keep you lower on the rainfall spectrum. So just the South Shores, that's where you could get over 100 millimeters even on Puerto Rico here, the South Shore. So something we'll have to keep an eye on with the trends. Even here into parts of the Eastern Bahamas, you get upwards of 100, 125 millimeters. That's a good solid 3, 4, maybe 5 inches of rain. So Eastern Jamaica up to Eastern Cuba, the western tip of Haiti here. This triangle here that we're going to have to keep a very close eye on. So the rest of the Caribbean islands and the Eastern Caribbean here, there's not too much to talk about. You got a little tropical wave, Trinidad, Tobago, the Central Lesser Antilles here. Not too much else here other than our system, which could be Vince throughout the forecast period here. All right, so let's take a look at our HRRR future radar. There's 2 areas of concern over the next 24 to 48 hours, and that's what's going to take us through. This area here, this cold front diving down across the Great Lakes into the Ohio Valley. This little area is this is our entity that's not going to become tropical. This is that low pressure that's going to head a little bit safely off the East Coast here. It's only going to affect extreme eastern New England as we get into the weekend. But let's see, as we head throughout the rest of the night into Friday morning, you can see most of the shower thunderstorm activity remains off the Florida coast. Orlando, you might get some up to Jacksonville as well. The big story also is going to be up here in the Ohio Valley. Look at this. We got some lines of convection towards 7 a.m. here approaching Cleveland. That could be an issue as we get into the morning commute. Look at that. Might actually have some rumbles of thunder and some gusty winds as well. I don't think anything really severe is going to happen with this, but look at this. This is by 11 a.m. noon. Most of it is through you, Cleveland down to Indianapolis by this point. Still got a second push behind it, but look at this. Out ahead of it, Buffalo, Pittsburgh. Yeah, line of convection. So towards Binghamton State College, all the way through Pittsburgh there, Syracuse, you're going to be looking at a very wet evening commute here. Lines of convection could have some gusty winds up to 40, 50 miles per hour out of some of these as that frontal boundary moves through throughout the evening. And as you can see, that dives southward across parts of the lower Hudson Valley, eastern Catskills, Poconos, and then eventually here, this is going to meet up with our system off the coast. Now, let me just take you through that here into the southeast. There it is. You can see most of it staying just off the coast. I know you need the rainfall here across parts of the Carolinas. I know you do, but it's just not going to happen in the quantity that you need it. Look what's going on, though. This system's heading up the coast. Nantucket, Cape Cod, you got to watch out, but it's really got its eyes set here on eastern Maine, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick. I'm a little curious here. Let's put the precipitation depiction type on here. What's the HRRR showing? Well, it is showing a little area of wet snow. You can even see in the Adirondacks here, 2 a.m. on Saturday morning, northern white and green mountains all the way up to northern Maine here. HRRR isn't so bullish on the snow, though. I mean, it is on the backside a little bit, but it's not like extremely prominent here. But there's our other area, our main area of low pressure that'll be strengthening. So it'll be interesting to see if we can get some enough cold air on the backside there. So for U.S.-Canadian weather here, what's going on? It is the big deal here. The only system we'll be talking about Friday is the system plowing here across the Ohio Valley. Look at this cold front pushing through eastern Canada and the Ohio Valley and the eastern Great Lakes. It's going to bring some showers and some windy conditions, a wind shift, and conditions will be cooling down. Look at that as we head throughout the rest of your evening hours. Those showers making it to the east. This front is going to help keep this nor'easter type system well offshore until you get to these areas of eastern Maine, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick here. That's where you're going to see quite a bit in the way of weather that's really going to whip up, especially the middle part of the weekend. Look at the Canadian Maritimes here. This is where the weather is going to be. Look at this. It's basically both coasts here. East Coast and West Coast, you have these two big systems just camping out here, plowing ashore. And that's going to be the theme here as we go throughout the rest of the weekend. Look at that low blasting up here. 969 millibars. I think that's, not 974. Close enough. So there you go. There's another system ready to plow onshore of North America. Look at this. This gives us a really good view of the large-scale pattern. If we just zoom in just a little, look at this big area of high pressure across the east. This is going to start us off, Thanksgiving week. So it starts off nice, but I got to caution you, look what is waiting down here in Texas. That's our next system. We got some energy up here into central Canada. Look at this big monster over here into the Gulf of Alaska. That's something we'll have to keep an eye on as well. So let's just continue our U.S.-Canadian weather Yeah, look at this. This is that system I was talking about. We'll show it to you on the GFS using the precipitation depiction, because that model will allow us to actually see what kind of precipitation. But you can see some convective elements here. This is the 22nd, by the way. So we're literally the day before Thanksgiving. We got this big 984 millibar low. To the north of it, you know that in parts of Canada, you are going to be getting some snow up here. Now, will it extend further south? We'll take a look at precipitation depiction here momentarily. We're going to monitor that here. Oh, look at this. Yeah, there's definitely going to be some sort of big convection event here going on the east side of this system. So that's something we're going to have to keep a very close eye on here. It looks like some sort of squall line. This is the 7 a.m. on the 22nd. Yeah, this could be a big deal. 978 millibars. Could this be some sort of severe weather outbreak here? This far north and east. That'd be pretty remarkable. At least a damaging wind event. It is actually quite possible. And behind it, a lake effect really starts to kick in here. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But I think some of the snow belt areas could be picking up some snow, especially the day after Thanksgiving here. All right, so let's take a look at our trusty precipitation depiction here on the GFS. There we go. There is Friday's system. You can see it is all rain. 4 p.m. heading through the Ohio Valley into parts of the Northeast. You're going to pick up a quarter to a half an inch of rain. That does wash out as the energy is robbed from it. Look at across eastern Canada here. We got that low pressure just hanging out there. Our next system off the U.S. West Coast here. So there it is. This is what I wanted to show you. See how they combine forces here. Low pressure winding up here just south of New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and eastern Maine. There is going to be a stripe. It's going to be very brief. You can see 10 a.m. Saturday morning. Look at the northwest corner here of this system. There's just enough cold air to wrap around some wet snowflakes. It's not going to be like this massive event, but you can see it's there. And then it starts to solidify up there across the Canadian Maritimes. Behind it, so let's see. That next system from the Ohio Valley, the Mississippi Valley, this pushes upward. This is the November 21st at 10 a.m. You can see this is the onset. We have that big 1032 millibar high here across Quebec. That's going to supply the cold air, especially at the surface. And as we get that warm, moist air flowing up out of the southwest, that's going to be the battle zone. So 4 p.m. in the afternoon, sleet and freezing rain could be developing here. Mixed precipitation around the Binghamton area, Scranton, and the Syracuse area. So that's something we'll have to keep an eye on. Wraparound snow here into parts of the Midwest. And look at this. So that persists into Tuesday night next week into Wednesday morning. Look at parts of northern New England. We do start to get a changeover to snow. Lake and hand snow around Cleveland, Detroit as well. So look at that. Rain to snow here. It doesn't look like massive accumulations initially, but here on the front side, we could be piling up some snow here into northern New England and interior New York State as well, especially up there in the higher elevations. I think it's going to be a big elevation storm. Now look what happens here. We have two areas of low pressure. We have this one developing off the coast. Actually, there's three. One out here out to sea, and then this big 984 millibar upper level low behind it. And that's going to help get a southwest flow here that could bring us some big time snows here on a southwest flow into parts of Buffalo and then Watertown, New York. The flow pattern is like this. So it doesn't favor Cleveland area so much. I think you'll still get some scattered snow showers, but look at northern New England here. You're starting to see some more accumulating snow. This is the 23rd at 1 a.m. That is Thanksgiving Day next week. Now, a lot can change between now and then. This is a week out. But look at this. This is a blustery pattern. Some of you are going to see a white Thanksgiving across parts of the Northeast here. And look at this little system that heads out across the parts of the Ohio Valley. Could see some snow breaking out to get us in the holiday mood for parts of the Ohio Valley and the Eastern Great Lakes. This is an interesting little pattern we're in here. And look at this next system towards the 27th, a little bit of light snow heading into the Northeast. And look at this, cold air diving down across Texas. Yeah, this is what I was talking about with my winter outlook. These lows heading across Texas, bringing down some wintry precipitation. Liquid equivalent precipitation here. Let's take a look here for much of North America. You can see Florida. You're going to eke out here, especially north central Florida. Probably about 1.5 inches, 2 inches. This takes us out, but there it is across the Ohio Valley into the northeast as we head Friday into Saturday. You're looking at a solid, like, at least 1/3 to 1/2 an inch, maybe locally higher towards 2/3 of an inch here across some of these purplish areas. This will be occurring towards the middle of next week as we get that system ejecting in there. Eastern New England as well with our coastal system. So taking us to the northeast here, this gives us a good idea. Look at that. That is a perfect about 1/2 an inch on average here as we head Friday morning, afternoon into Friday night here. So most areas, especially north and west of the Poconos here, the Catskills, you're getting a little bit less here in the lower Hudson Valley, but you get the idea here across the Ohio Valley. Northwest Pennsylvania, some areas could see upwards of close to an inch, especially in the Alleghenies there. As we continue to go out here in time, there's the east end of Lake Ontario really starting to pile up some lake-enhanced by late weekend and early next week. What's this mean for snowfall? Well, let's take a look here. Yeah, later in the weekend, across eastern Lake Ontario, Adirondacks, northern White Green Mountains, parts of southern Canada here. These areas, even the hills around Syracuse here. Yeah, these areas you could see 1, 2, 3 inches. Maybe locally higher, though. Look into parts of northeastern Maine here, upwards of 5 to 6 inches. So if we go back here and take a look at our previous European run that can get us out a little bit farther, it's becoming warmer with our Thanksgiving system here. Let me show you. So as we continue snowfall all into next week, you can see there it is right around Thanksgiving Day, northeast of Cleveland, especially Buffalo area, Watertown, Oswego County. Yeah, you start to see the track of these low pressure systems is inching ever so slowly to the north. There's northern Maine, parts of Vermont, New Hampshire, northern New York. You'll probably eke out a good 6, 10 inches maybe out of this next system. Let's take a look at the GFS. So looking out for our Thanksgiving system, let's just back that up. So here it is. The GFS has come on board with what the European model, this is the 18Z. There we go. Let's make sure that latest GFS is loaded. So here it is. This is pretty interesting because look at this. This is the day before Thanksgiving. We've become a bit warmer across Pennsylvania, but look at parts of New England here. I'm not so sure I'm in full agreement with this, but look at this period: Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This is pretty interesting. If this does hold true, look at some of these areas, even into New England here. That would be more than a foot in some areas. Not completely on board with this. Please stay tuned. This is an ever-changing situation. The European models you saw previously was much less. Look at southern Canada here. 20 to 30 inches. And don't go anywhere. I have plenty more weather in just a moment, but check out my affiliate here. Here are some awesome maps.
I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning digital professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code.
All right, so our temperatures here, we're going to finish off. Let's go back to Friday here. Don't want to leave TGIF out. Look at this. You can see where the frontal boundary is. Cold air blasting in behind it. One more day of 60s here into the Ohio Valley, right around 60 up into the northeast Texas. Oh, look at that. South Texas, 70s and 80s in 2 years. Saturday, look at this. A cold front blasting across the Ohio Valley into parts of the northeast, cooling things down into the 40s as reality slaps you in the face, but it's warming up back here in the plains. You can see many 50s. This is pretty seasonably warm for this time of year. Even here into northern New England, that's something you'd expect this time of year. And as we head throughout the rest of your forecast period into Monday here, look at this. Yeah, we get a warming trend again. That's what that next system, pushing some warm air up ahead of it. But that's that cold layer of air out ahead of it that could promote some frozen precipitation as well. But look what's coming behind it here. This is Tuesday, a big old blast of some Arctic air behind it, and that's going to continue pushing. This is a big pattern change that we've been waiting for quite some time. That is a big area of 30s just in time for the day before Thanksgiving. A extended outlook from our hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton's upper Susquehanna River Valley of New York and Pennsylvania. Take a look at this. Showers moving in for your Friday, particularly after 4 p.m. Quarter to a half an inch expected into Friday night and Saturday. The cold front blasting through, turning blustery and colder. Saturday night into Sunday, yes, more cooler weather, but seasonably cold into the 40s, lows into the 20s. For your Monday and Tuesday. Monday will be nice. Tuesday, that front moving in from the Ohio Valley might have some frozen precipitation onset, changing to rain rapidly, and then back to chance of rain and snow showers by your Wednesday. Thanks for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Don't forget, my winter 2023-24 outlook is in a link in the description down below, also appearing right in front of you on the screen as well. So check that out. Facebook, MeteoMark. Twitter at Weather Eastern, also Facebook Weather Northeastern and Hurricane Northeastern. Thanks for joining me. And don't forget, check out my affiliate link at Trilogy Maps below.